To order the Village of Cambridge Board of Trustees meeting of May 27th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Schultz.
Here.
Jacobson.
Here.
Blackwood.
Here.
Hollenbeck.
Here.
Trendle.
Here.
Kirklow.
Here.
Bruni.
Here. Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Lucy, proof of posting.
The agenda was posted in the upper and lower levels of the Amundsen Community Center, the Cambridge Post Office, Badger Bank, and the village website.
All right, thank you. Number 4, public comment. Anybody want to make a public comment tonight? Come on up. State your name and address, please. You got 3 minutes.
3? Come on. Yep, 3.
I went old school just for you.
Unfortunately.
Who needs an
Marsden,
iPhone?
813 Bluebird Pass. I'm here because I want to offer each of you my appreciation. I've had to miss the last couple of meetings, so maybe this has happened before. I know this is a newly constituted board, but you know, you deserve appreciation. You've taken your time and your energy to do this for your community, and I want you to know, each and every one of you, that I appreciate it. I mean, I always agree with your decision or your advice, but you're doing it for the public good, and that's the good of all of us, so thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, any other public comment? Come on up, sir.
All right, Nicholas Phillips, 703 Merlot Lane, in Cambridge here. Tough act to follow after that. Public comment. So I live in the vineyards of Cambridge, moved there 3 or 4 years ago with aspirations. My family, my kids are being raised there, and at the beginning of this journey, there was a plan to build a park. And a lot of our residents and neighbors, I represent the board for the HOA as well. So nothing has happened, and we've donated funds to said park, individual family members, households, and every year it seems to be moved down the agenda. Again, I'm not here to say why or what's important about it, but we're getting to the point now where our kids are getting older, and the purpose for why we moved to that neighborhood is becoming less and less desirable, or acting like it's going to happen, because my children at some point aren't going to really care about going on a swing set or a playground. So with that, nothing more than a request to bring this back to life, or to help us understand what's going on with the funds that we have raised, that the city is holding on top of what else is coming. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be a park at this point, a sports court where our kids can play basketball or something of that nature. But really, again, I'm not the only one. I'm one of many people who have kids in that neighborhood that were told when we moved here. My wife physically called about a park, and it's a sign where dogs go to the bathroom. That's all it is. It's their. So my request, or my 3 minutes, is to help try to move that forward, or at least let us know with the funds that we did contribute, like, where's it going? Because I really want something to happen, and whether it's a park, cement slab with a hoop, something will move that needle forward. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other public comment? State your name and address, please.
Yes, so I'm Jackie Fry, and my address currently is W9098 Blue Waters Pass in the town of Oakland. Prior to August, we lived in Cambridge for our whole life, my husband and I. And I, like you, want to echo and say thank you to all of the board members for representing and serving your time and spending the time and actually truly caring, because it is super important. And myself included, we're always the first ones to judge or say, why aren't they doing this or why aren't they doing that? So I just personally wanted to say thank you to all the existing members, new members, Sharon, and all of you guys. And my hope is that everybody can come together and make strides towards the betterment of everybody. I'm not, quote, in Cambridge, I get that, but it still means a lot to me and my community. I come here all the time for many reasons. I work in this community, so I just want to say thank you to the new members and hope that we can make some changes, and I'm really, really feeling positive and excited about what's to come. So thank you all.
All right, Jackie, thanks. All right. Anyone else for public comment? All right. With that being said, we're going to move on to number 5, approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns about the consent agenda, which includes village board minutes of May 13th, water and sewer committee minutes from May 20th, and economic development committee minutes from May 20th as well?
There is a correction that needs to be made in the minutes.
Village board or,
Water and sewer.
okay.
Oh wait, was it water and sewer? No, it wasn't water and sewer, it was the village board. It's the section where we, it would be 11B. Appointing Matt Houston to the Water, Sewer, and Stormwater Committee. You made the motion?
I think so.
Okay, but then it says trustee Blackwood shared some information. That should actually be trustee Hollenbeck
Yep.
shared the information.
Thank you. I will get that corrected.
All right. Anything else?
In the economic development minutes, we were hoping to have a winner for the Cambridge storefront competition, but we got notified that they had a delay in the judging, so we were hoping to have that announced for this meeting, but we didn't have that yet. So.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. On to reports. Number 6, library board report. Jennifer.
Yes, the summer reading program is starting. There's a lovely sign behind us. It is for all ages. We're very excited about that. We also interviewed for the vacant trustee positions, and there was a recommendation that was made for Pam Schmidt and Robin Kanzler to become the new library trustees.
And that's later on in the agenda, right? Approving those?
It is. I believe it is.
All right. Any questions or concerns from the library about our construction out here?
They are happy that it is earlier than later because it was going to impact the Friends of the Library book sale.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just trying to do some signage so that people know where, and there is, they're using their social accounts to keep people updated.
Okay. All right, moving on to joint law enforcement. Kristen?
So we met just before this meeting here. We appointed a new chair. I'm going to kill his last name, Gary from Deerfield. We're going to go there.
Gary W.
Yep. So he will be taking over as chair of that committee. We have the official announcement that Deputy Mike Corrigan is our new contract deputy. I think we knew that before, but he's been on the road 2 weeks, I believe. So that's been going well. And then next meeting, we are going to start some budget discussions, because since we only meet every other month, we're gonna start budget discussion in July so that we can have that set for when we start our process.
All right. Anything to add, Sharon? Or Jennifer? No?
No, I think that covers it. It was my first meeting, so
Yep.
thank you.
Okay. All right. Moving on to economic development. Brian?
The mural ordinance should be coming hopefully to the next board agenda?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. See, we're trying to get that in as soon as we could, so that'll be on the next board agenda. We should have that item taken off. We had a good discussion about what the committee is, what kind of our goals are, ways we can promote businesses. We talked about what's on the current Cambridge website, some other ideas that we can work through with that. So I think what next steps were to review the website. We talked about when you go to it, how do you do business with Cambridge? It isn't really a promotional thing in the site. It's not really something that would drive to you. So some of that stuff is on Visit Cambridge. We're trying to kind of connect some of those things up to help that out. The other thing that came up afterwards was a request from, or a letter from Kayla Sipple from the Wednesday Wake Up about the construction here, and then it got moved up to the summer months. And it didn't really get communicated over to some of the business leaders. I probably didn't make the connection at an economic development meeting, or
It
may have
all
been in
kind of
there, so.
Popped on us
Yeah, and
quickly.
so they were just concerned that how the decision got made, maybe a little bit of a communication gap we could have missed on that, so we'll discuss
Even
it
if
on-
I did attend the Wednesday Wake Up, which I did last Wednesday, but they didn't have one. Even if I did, I still wouldn't have had anything to share with them because it was news to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't know.
Yep, and so that's basically was kind of the feedback,
Yeah.
of just how that came up, so.
Yeah.
I think MSA dropped the ball on that one, and we should probably hold them accountable.
Yeah, we definitely need better communication with our contractors moving forward, so.
Because if that's how they project manage a project, then maybe we shouldn't pay them and we should project manage our own and save the money.
I did try to get an update on why it was pushed up, because I believe MSA had told us late summer.
Well, that's what we requested.
Okay. And
And MSA thought that they would be able to, they weren't sure, but they thought, but then we heard nothing from them, nothing.
I saw in their proposal that they did state the piece about the library, that they wanted to get it done before August because of the libraries. It's written in the proposal.
May I ask what MSA is?
They're the engineering firm,
Oh,
or
okay,
engineering firm.
okay,
We used to have Town and Country,
okay.
and now we have MSA, so. But yeah, even with the Wednesday Wake Ups, I try to make it to most of them, but I wouldn't have been able to share, and I'll take the beating tomorrow when I go to the Wednesday Wake Up. But it is what it is, I guess. I know that's a vanilla statement, but I couldn't have shared anything with them as well as anybody else on the board. So
to add to that point, I did do a Facebook post and a update on the website on the news and notices regarding it as soon as Cody gave me that information. And then I also did an update this morning with,
We can talk about that in
So,
the spring,
yes.
later
Yeah.
in the agenda, because that's actually an agenda item. We should probably
Gotcha.
talk about it then.
the lion's share of that, though, of how I got the information was from a school email that was sent out for our kids. Like, oh, wow, this is pretty detailed. Good if we know about it.
So basic bottom line, we kind of got it sprung on us. We need to do a little bit better job. We
Yeah.
also understand the impact that it makes on that, and better planning would be better, so.
And we can talk more, because I've got a couple other things to add.
You got some things. You got some things over there, Paula?
Just a thing,
All
just
right.
one, I think.
All right, with that, we're gonna, any questions for Brian in economic development?
No.
Economic development, signs? That's public, that's now in Public Works hands?
What is?
Welcome to Cambridge?
Yes.
Yeah, we're still.
It was in our agenda because it got brought up. We were just wondering what about the status, so.
And I think we're just waiting on the easements.
From Jane.
Okay, all right, roger that.
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving on to 7, approval of bills, discussion, possible action, treasurer's report. So, we got the bills, they are going around.
Yes, so the first run of bills is in the amount of $128,898.45. Second run in the amount of $10,247.37. And today we have an addition, a cashier's check for $5,100 to the Dane County Treasurer. So our total will be $144,245.82.
All right, I will accept the motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $144,245, and was it 82 cents?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll second.
so we got a motion and a second. Any,
What's the Dane County one for?
Absolutely. So that is the parcel.
Got it.
We got
Oh,
it.
Perfect.
that may
Yep.
come out,
And
okay.
they would not accept a normal check like when we do our check runs. I will enter into Workhorse as a manual check.
Perfect.
And just want to put it out there, if anyone's running to Madison, it has to be delivered tomorrow, otherwise I will. So that's what that is. As for, can I go over the bills over 5,000?
Yep.
well, we have a motion and a second on the floor, so
Yeah,
let's do
we're
a
doing
roll
the
call.
discussion.
Oh,
This is
the
are we
discussion.
done with discussion or no?
I'd kind of like to hear before we
What
vote.
what were the bills over 5,000?
Oh, yeah,
Right,
definitely.
okay, so the $5,100 cashier's check for Dane County Treasurer, and that was for the purchase of a parcel. And then we have Sir Jenian's floor covering, that is materials only, not labor, for $13,879.
And can I interject, that was covered by, oh, you're going to?
Yes, and that we will provide the receipt to the Cambridge Community Foundation to be reimbursed for that, per their generous grant. And then we have the Village of Deerfield, twice on there, one for $10,981.94, and the second one for $96,046.29. What that is, we were not paying, this is for the Dane County Sheriff's contract. We pay Deerfield, and we had put a hold on that because Lisa and Maggie were meeting with the school district to go over how the fees are broken up and who's responsible for what. We will be discussing that in further at the next law enforcement, joint law enforcement committee meeting. But the 10,000 is for the end of 2024, the last 2 weeks. And then the 96,000 is from January through, I believe it's May 2nd. So it's just some back pay that they were owed. And then for Dean Health Plan, that is just the monthly insurance premium. Any questions?
Are we paying, from last time, we were paying, that we voted no, the fire, remember the last meeting we
Second
voted?
installment.
Yes. I didn't see that in here, did I miss that?
That's coming up in the,
Okay,
an
okay,
agenda item.
okay, thank you.
And that's the talks with Lisa and Margie were about the resource officer?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And how much the schools to pay and
Exactly.
overtime and all that, okay.
They met with the school, there's been some clarification, and it'll get here in the upcoming,
Next meeting.
yes, well,
July. The meeting is July, but we probably will get information
Yes.
before that.
Right.
yes.
I know we've been asking for that for a while,
Mhm.
so it's good that that's been brought to the forefront.
Yes.
All right, any other questions for Lucy? If not, roll call, please.
Trendle,
Here, I mean, yes, sorry.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Cricklow,
Yes.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Blackwood,
Yes.
Green.
Yes. All right. Anything for treasurer's report?
Yes, I just had two things. One was regarding the cashier's check, which I've already discussed. And the other item was to notify you that we have received a check from the Department of Administration for an overpayment of $409,037.16. We previously had a meeting and you approved, we had all of the GO bonds, and two of them, I was not informed. We pay the the Oakland Sanitary District monthly, and they pay two of them. And we were receiving emails from the Department of Administration stating that we have not paid them. They were specifically reaching out to us. So between myself and another staff member, we went ahead and did that, and now I have made notes in Workhorse. I've made notes in the files because I did not know that the sanitary district pays those. So that is what that was.
And what was that total again?
$409,037.16.
That's a nice surprise.
Well, it's money that never should have gone out.
Right.
So it's not like it's found money or
No.
anything.
No.
It's
No.
just, right.
It was an outstanding catch by yourself, Paula. Didn't you come in to look at some contracts and it came up
No,
to
no,
that
this
extent, or
was,
no?
they sent us a letter saying it was an overage.
Okay.
And it's because Oakland paid it and we paid it.
Oh.
So
Okay.
when they got the overage, it was just us clarifying where that came from.
And
It's unfortunate, the information about how those bonds got paid was not passed from staff member to staff member. So that was a miss by staff, but it's now rectified, and I feel confident that it's fully documented. So if we ever had a change in staff again, that would be clear.
Okay.
Absolutely. And just to add on it, it's a once-a-year payment.
Yep.
And the way that the invoice came, it had 4 of the bonds on it, 4 different amounts. And the Department of Administration, when they followed up with us, they don't know our arrangement with the Oakland It's been, from my knowledge, the person I talked to, they've tried to verbally explain that, but they send it to Oakland, they send it to us, they send it to the sanitary district.
Yeah.
They just cover all their bases.
All their
They
bases,
just
so
want to
they
get the
just-
money.
Exactly. So I've put in notes and
Right.
processes so that that does not happen next year.
Well, I appreciate the staff looking into
Yep.
that. And that's finally some good news coming our way. So, all right. Anything else, Lucy?
That's everything.
All right. Moving on to new business, discussion and possible action regarding library board vacancy update. Jennifer.
These are the trustee positions. We interviewed 3 candidates, and Pam Schmidt and Robin Kanzler have been recommended by the library board to become the new trustees.
Okay.
What was Robin's last name?
Kanzler,
Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion?
is there a motion? Do I
Yeah,
need to make the motion?
Usually, when I was on the library board, if it's something with the library, I always made the motion.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to recommend, or to approve the recommendation by the library board of Pam Schmidt and Robin Kanzler as the new library trustees.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
What,
Discussion.
I know Pam, she's a patron, and she's used the library services a lot, and so we see that as being a big benefit to the library.
Yes,
And Robin,
was an employee of the library and is now has a different position with doing financial aid, and we felt that her skill set would help inform the library board because she has that experience as being on the library staff.
And did Samantha have any concerns?
We had, the whole board had had a discussion about that. When we do the orientation, we'll make sure that all of the trustees know that the trustee job is governance and
Good.
not offering any other
Okay.
sort of advice to the library director, because the library director reports to the board, and doesn't, they can volunteer, they can do anything, but they don't do programming, they don't do services or anything like that. We'll make that very clear.
And I know we do, the library board does have precedence of having somebody who worked at the library also then join the board.
Yes.
And I don't think we've had a problem with that in the past, so it's great that that's going to be called out during training.
Yeah,
All right.
and I think that
Thank
it's
you.
something that we can look at with our bylaws and with our policies. Just,
My only question is, you have, with your bylaws, so many from Jefferson County, so many from Dane County. Are they both from Dane County? How does that work out?
They are both from Dane County. Jefferson County has the opportunity to appoint up to, I believe it's 5 members in addition to what our bylaws
Okay.
say.
All right.
So we can have a library board of up to 12 people. But Jefferson County has only, has not taken the opportunity to appoint any trustees other than the ones that we recommended to their library board.
I got you. All right. All right. Anything else?
Cambridge is very uniquely situated on the border, and most of our patrons are from Jefferson County, but because most of our funding does come from Jefferson County, but they're just the way things are situated, we have to consult with the South Central Library System on who our trustees are and what their residence
You
looks
mean
like.
Dane County?
In Dane County, yeah.
Jefferson County pays the most.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because all those Oakland people,
Ah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, there's like,
All those Oakland people, you made that sound so.
You use the library. That's a good thing.
that's fantastic.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
we
your
like
use
all
of the
those
library.
yes,
Oakland
thank
people.
you for being a patron of
Yeah.
the, but, yeah, and because it's a rural versus
I got you.
a more urban or,
Learn something new every day.
yeah, it's,
All right. So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of 2 new library board members, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Welcome on board. Committee assignments update. That one will be probably myself on that one.
How about I make a motion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the updated committee assignments as provided to us in our packets.
All right. Do we have a second? I'll second.
oh, I would, go ahead.
Jennifer second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, now it's discussion time. So I tried to split it up so everybody has a fair shake. As you can see here, Sarah and myself have only 5, and the rest of you have 6. Sarah, I know that you wanted to be on audit and finance, but I actually switched out Jennifer with Kristen because I wanted the audit and finance group to be somewhat, have gone through an audit before,
Sure.
somewhat seasoned in that respect. That doesn't mean that you can't be there. Anybody from the board can be there
Okay.
during the whole process, and matter of fact, I would welcome it.
I was gonna say, I
Because
encourage it.
sometimes if you come into an audit and finance when we're getting into the nitty gritty of things, you'll say, wow, we're talking about flowers? We're talking about, saving X amount of dollars on salt or whatever comes in,
Cell
wherever we
phones.
have to chop.
Sure.
It's always good to come in and see how that, again, how the sausage is made, right? So, but you had a number one for TIF. You wanted to be on the TIF district?
I
aspect?
don't know exactly. I was trying to
So
learn
I
about
did-
that, but
Did put you on that?
just a little nervous since
Yeah.
it's just myself and one other person,
Who's
the
that?
citizen member.
Yeah,
So that makes me a little nervous.
they
since
meet once a year.
Is that all it is?
And-
Okay,
And
okay.
usually
And
staff
and it's
guides you.
rehearsed, yeah.
Okay.
Staff guides you through that meeting, right?
Okay.
Right.
I've done
Great.
those meetings, pulled over on the highway,
Okay,
calling in saying, okay,
Perfect.
you know, so it's,
And it's Rob Warren.
and
on
it's
there,
Rob
too.
Warren.
Okay.
So you gotta worry about with Rob is maybe some off-color joke.
okay, sounds good.
He's a good guy. Any other ones you may have?
Just a
Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
I was just gonna say a question for Board of Review. You have me listed as second alternate, so that means I only attend if someone else is not able to attend, correct?
Mhm.
Okay,
But again,
Sounds
if you can attend,
Mhm.
just so you can get your,
just to learn.
just to learn and
You bet.
get your foot in the door. I haven't really switched out anyone else. I did put Kristen in audit and finance, and I stated why. We have a new citizen member on water and sewer, and we voted on that last meeting. And Sarah, you are now on water and sewer with Paula.
I like the new retyped format.
That's just that's
Easier to
mine.
read.
It
Yeah.
seems so much easier to read now.
Yeah.
So,
And, I was thinking that it might be helpful to have this printed out, so, because a lot of times you're like, well, am I on that, So it's kind of easier to print out. It's
It
a
is.
front and back, and you can
Yep.
print it out and throw it on your fridge or whatever it is,
one
so.
piece of paper.
So,
I'm gonna beat you up a little bit.
yeah, please.
Would you spell my name right?
Here we go. I spelled it,
Twice.
oh, yeah. It must have been a holdover. on
You
it.
got half.
Any concerns, Sharon? From your end?
Well, you've put me on the cable one, and I know they only meet about once a year, but I've never chaired a committee before.
You'll have nothing to worry about, because you'll always have staff that can guide you through
Okay.
how to do things and share, and it's
Okay.
nothing. Once you take those training wheels off and you're up there, the staff will guide you, and you'll think you can share anything and everything.
All right. Well, that's the only thing I was concerned about.
Yeah.
How often does the zoning board of appeals meet?
Only when there's a zoning
Zoning
board
appeals.
that was not approved.
Okay,
That's been,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
they haven't met probably
Years?
Couple of years.
more than a year, I think. 2
Years.
years?
oh,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, the reason I'm kind of, putting you on these, and the mindset is a discussion that I had with Paula, because Paula's been on the board the longest, on and off. But there has been some really outstanding board members that have been on this board, but they got burnt out real fast, because they were put on a very hostile, Solar comes to mind. We lost Wyatt, and he was outstanding, but he got burnt out because he was our front person going to all these meetings and everything, and he has young kids and everything else. So it's a lot of these that, if you're new on the board, they don't meet as often. Water and sewer meets on a regular basis, so it's every third Tuesday of every month. But for the most part, a lot of these commissions and committees, personnel meets when needed. And fire EMS commission meets
Monthly.
per the IGA quarterly, but the new,
Wait, the new president of what
oh,
are
we're
they?
getting.
We'll get to that.
So, but that's the reason why
That's fair.
kind of,
That's totally
you got
fair.
a year, and we don't want you to have that year and then say,
And then,
what did I get
that's,
myself
no,
into?
I appreciate that. I
So,
appreciate that.
and it's just, And then, if anybody has a big complaint, it would probably be Paula and Kristen, and maybe to a certain extent Brian, because you have the lion's share of the committees and commissions that meet on a regular basis. But I also, Brian, you had mentioned, you have to work your job into things, and Paula's quasi-retired, other than the honey-do list that you have to do on occasion. But so all of these things kind of go into the batch, and so hopefully it's fair. And there could be a situation where you're on a committee or a commission, and you're like, I'm not feeling it. So we come back to the board and we work it out. We'll have another vote, and we've had situations where people have been our representatives on commissions and committees, and we've changed it out with a board vote. So we have a motion and a second. Anything else other than the misspelled name? All right. All those in favor of the changes to the committees and commission members, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, Amundsen Center rental policy and cleaning. I already talked to Lucy, and she was going to take this one.
Absolutely. So this was just brought up because of the change with the carpet in our community room, and we do rent it out. We do have the library use it for many events with kids that sit on the carpet. So it was suggested that we review this policy. I'm not sure when it was last updated, and see if there's any areas that should be updated regarding that. And then we'll start on that before we go into the cleaning.
I have a couple things that I think
Yes.
should be added. Now that we have carpet, I think maybe we should post a sign and enforce shoes are worn at all times when in the building. Because there are some people who don't wear shoes when they rent out the room. And when it was a floor that could be easily cleaned and mopped, that was one thing. I think with carpet, I would have concerns about that. And then I would also, do we want to implement anything about pets? Like no pets in, particularly with carpet. Again, with a tile floor, it's easy to clean up if a pet vomits or has an accident. With carpet, that's going to be a whole different ballgame.
Did we allow pets
We
previously?
didn't expressly allow them, but we didn't expressly not allow
Not
them.
allow them?
And there have been some people who have brought pets. Now that we have carpet, I'm wondering if we need to specify that pets are not allowed in the building.
I think that would be a good
I
change.
don't, those are the two things that I thought of related to the floor, and then, just, taking care if you drop something on the carpet, make sure you pick it up.
Well, it says cleaning, if there's decorations, it says if cleaning costs due to dye stains, why don't we just have cleaning costs due to any stains or
Any-
something like
yeah.
that? So it covers the carpet and anything is charged, so.
I like that. Paula, I like your suggestion of pets. I don't know that we need to have pets in the building. I feel like that's a liability,
Do you ever have your pets?
How did you bring that up,
Or do they bring their dogs?
that you have on your screen there?
This document, the document.
I was gonna say, it would be different, so that sometimes the library
Well, here's
has
where I am.
programs where they will bring in animals.
Gotcha.
That, I think, is acceptable. People bringing their pets from home, which has happened.
I'm guilty of it. I bring my small dog in upstairs on occasion just for like a morale for the staff, the front office folks, and they have treats hidden up there for them and everything. But I think if you're gonna do it down here, it's gonna have to be upstairs, it's gonna have to be building for the entire building, right? So,
No,
Oh, I guess I need to go home and play with it.
I don't know, Chris, I don't know if I would agree with that. I
No.
mean, this is for
Oh,
the use
I
of this
see, okay.
room,
mm-hmm.
and we need to wait until Sharon gets set.
Sharon, you all right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just learning something.
All right.
That's the
Okay,
policy that we're
okay.
reviewing.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I mean,
So,
if it,
again, so the use of this room is, when people rent out this room,
mhm.
they expect a certain level of cleanliness, a certain level of et cetera. I mean, upstairs in the office, you know, that's just office
that could be office staff
staff, and that,
discretion.
to me, that's different. But with this room, there's that expectation of,
Yeah.
which is where those two items just came up as a concern.
Yeah.
And frankly, it was brought to my attention by two different people.
Mm.
If they rent this room, do they have the use of the kitchen also?
It depends if that's what they rent,
Oh, I see. Okay, that's an addition to the,
yes.
Is this going to be the actual policy?
This is the
what
policy
we
now.
currently have.
So it's not numbered and it's not dated for like the last revision?
Nope.
Should like major spills be reported?
Yes.
Is that in here? I didn't see it.
I don't see anything like that.
Where is this policy? Is it in the,
It's provided to people when they rent the room. I happened to have rented the room in March, and I received a copy of this with my approved rental agreement.
But it's not a formal ordinance or anything? It's not, it's just a policy that we have?
It's just the policy that we're set up for how to use these rooms.
I got you.
To Jennifer's point, should we have it as a dated or anything like that policy? To keep it consistent?
So we know
or
when it was last
when it
updated.
last
I mean,
updated?
what we can do is have staff work at updating this with the changes we want to see in it.
Mhm.
And then we can start from that point forward saying, you know, here's
Okay.
effective as of this date, and, you know,
Sounds good.
approved by the board?
approved by,
whatever
yeah,
date?
approved by the
least
board
have
on
that
this
on it.
date.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
Sounds
And
good.
then if we want to review it each year, we could do that. I don't know if this would fall under the purview of a public works item, or,
Well, that's what I was thinking, if it was,
Right.
it was in the personnel, I didn't know where it
I
would be
want
in.
to say it was Public Works the last time we
That
talked
would
about
actually make
this.
sense.
yeah.
When we were talking about the lockbox and, you know, some of the other things associated with it,
Oh,
it
that
was
done
Public Works. Yeah.
Okay. So moving forward, Public Works could review it on a yearly basis,
Mm-hmm.
and then if any changes would be needed, we could recommend those to the board.
Who's the chair?
I am,
Who else is on it? Oh, yeah, I am.
you are.
All right, all right. Oh, it sounds like some more policy work to do. Sounds good.
But right now, we'll just, so is the board in general in agreement with shoes must be worn at all times and
Very much
no
so.
pets?
Yes.
Okay, so those are two items that we could add in, Lucy, and then if you want to,
I like the report of major spills
yeah.
or something along those lines.
that would be
Damage.
under cleanup expectations, there could be the line item of, no major spills. Or reporting.
It says
of major
any
spills.
damages we charge back, but then it's like, all right, I guess that covers it, so I think it's all right.
Yeah, this carpeting is gonna get its true workout in the winter months.
Yeah.
Because we bring in a lot of salt,
Yeah,
so.
Might need new entryway mats or
Maybe,
something
some of
along
that.
those lines to protect it a little bit
Well,
more.
we-
But I like the thought pattern with this, Paul, because we're trying to protect what, you know, kind of our investment that the foundation generously gave us, and it's, you know, it's not gonna stay pristine forever, but we can,
and the reason, part of the reason we went with this is because if, like, there is a stain, we can remove one carpet square and replace that one carpet square. So, you know, we tried to think out for the longevity, but then there's also just general
General wear and
cleanliness
tear.
about it. And, I mean, think how often you clean the carpets in your own home if you have pets.
Oh, yeah.
You do that on a regular basis. So by not having pets or sweaty feet on the floor, that can help us.
My only thought is kids' shoes are so filthy. Muddy,
Yeah.
grassy, or stones in them. I don't know.
Yeah, and story time is in here, isn't it?
Right,
Yep. Yep.
right.
We could do what they do in Japanese households,
Slippers?
socks.
Socks. That crossed my mind.
Not bare
I'm
feet.
just thinking
Or
my
you-
son's shoes are just trashed.
I was gonna say, do you wanna say something like, no bare feet? Or,
That's a hygiene issue. I have
Yeah.
issues with bare feet.
No bare feet.
Yeah.
you
It
know,
should be no bare feet.
right. But like you said, if it's socks and shoes
Yeah,
versus.
socks, shoes. Oh, yeah, so maybe it should say no bare feet allowed. I
Yeah.
like that better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, because if you have socks on, I'm okay with that.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah,
That's,
absolutely.
we make
Yeah.
our son take them off outside.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
And I do believe they use a rug for story time
yeah, they do.
as well that the
Okay.
kids sit on.
Okay.
I think that's wise. Yeah,
Okay.
I like that.
So just actionable items for the staff to come add those to it and then bring it back to Public Works.
No, I'd say just bring it back here, let's get it on the board, and then Public Works can take it to review again. And
The second go around.
Yeah, yeah. Let's get something officially out there so that we aren't waiting for Public Works
Mhm.
to protect the carpet, so, you know. Okay, good.
So the cleaning part,
Okay.
is there something to add with that, or?
So I had a question.
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and bring this.
Yep,
I
you
had-
go
I
ahead.
had a question as to what our cleaning person does on a regular basis. Because we've got, you know, 2 community rooms, plus we have a kitchen. Is that person cleaning all of this on a regular basis? Are we expecting them to vacuum this room daily, weekly? What are our expectations? So, and I was wondering if we had, I know Lisa has talked to them, and that was in her what she did last week.
The Friday recap.
Yeah, thank you, the Friday recap, that she had talked to Brian about cleaning expectations. I would like to see a list of what those are and the frequency. So what things has he been directed to clean, and then what is the frequency for each one of those items? I mean, because for this building, you know, there's 2 needs for cleaning. There's the cleaning that's needed for the staff areas, because, you know, every staff person, everybody who works deserves to work in a clean environment. And then the secondary one is for the public. So this room, the downstairs bathrooms, which are open to the public when this building is open. So making sure, I mean, the kitchen area, which I know that the senior program, food program, uses the kitchen on a regular basis. But, you know, is it being cleaned in between? And I'm sure they clean up well after themselves, but, you know, should we maybe have them go in and wipe down the counters before the senior program, so that they come back to a kitchen that's as clean as it was how they left it?
Yeah.
You know, so things like that I think we probably should take into consideration. So I don't know if we could get Lisa to provide us a list, or I'm requesting.
Yep.
Lisa to provide us a list of what are the tasks that were requested to be done, and what were the frequency of each one of those tasks.
I know that the library walked Brian
Brian, yep.
walked Brian around to show what their expectations were, and there's no complaints from the library side of the house. I think we should have a checklist of sorts, but also a walk around by our staff of what the expectations are. because, I mean, otherwise he's kind of just shooting from the hip of, you know, what he's supposed
Trying to
to
guess
do.
what he
so.
should do.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So we have to give him a little guidance. So. Anything else on cleaning?
I just want a little direction. So we want Lisa to provide that list with what was requested in the frequency, which I believe what I took from the Friday recap that was given to him. And to bring that back to our next meeting to go over it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right.
Or do you want Public Works to review it? And then if Public Works thinks that something different needs to be done, to let him know?
That's
because-
how the process should probably work. It should
Yeah,
probably
okay,
go through
so
Public
let's
Works.
add that to, once that's done, so we probably need to have a Public Works meeting at some point, so that would be an item. Once we have that list, if you can let me know,
Yes.
then I can go ahead and arrange a Public Works meeting with, I'm sure, a number of other items we can put on the agenda.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Because he doesn't clean down at Public Works, does he?
No.
No, because, you know, we don't care if those staff work in a dirty environment, I guess. I don't know.
Great.
OSHA doesn't care.
Wow. All right. Might have to edit that part there.
I was just extrapolating. I mean, we do care,
As
of
the
course.
Public
But
Works Chair.
I could say, but on the other hand, when our cleaning person can't clean, our Public Works people fill in.
Yes.
So I would think the Public Works can clean their own building.
I
So,
gotcha.
yeah.
All right. Anything else for item C? All right, moving on to D, Lions Club temporary liquor license. Concerts in the park for June 6th. Beer and wine, July 11th and August 8th. July 11th and August 8th, just beer. So we have the liquor licenses on here, and they've all been vetted by our police.
Yes.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the Lions Club temporary liquor license for concerts in the park, June 6th, beer and wine, July 11, and August 8 for beer.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. For those that are new to the board, Paula, could you give a synopsis of why we have to go through this process?
So there are certain kinds of licenses for alcohol in the village. If it's a temporary license, it's just making sure that we're aware of when alcohol is being served throughout the village at different places, and then making sure that the people who are serving that beer, even at a temporary basis,
That's important.
or a person who is in charge of serving that beer has gone through the bartending classes and all that kind of stuff. So
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
Nope, that's all good.
it's good to kind of get an idea why we go through this process and understanding the why. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or concerns? Okay, all those in.
One final thing I just want to add to that, Chris, is that if we had had reports of previous years there being issues with the alcohol use in the park during things like this, by it coming up to us every year and us having to approve it, we would have the opportunity to say, you know, we're not going to approve it, or we'll only approve it if you take these additional steps. So that's kind of why it comes up to. All right, sorry, thanks. Go ahead, Chris.
That's a good point. All right. All those in favor of the approval of the temporary liquor license, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes here. So moving to E, application fee for comprehensive plan amendments. Paula, you wanted to speak to this?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table this item for a future agenda. I don't feel like the people who are present today have enough information to, number one, understand why it was brought up, but also I'm wondering if this should have gone to the Plan Commission first, and then from the Plan Commission come to the Village Board.
Yeah,
So,
I'll second that motion. Any questions? Yep, there was just a lot of unanswered, a lot of question marks around this, so I think it's a good call. All those in favor of tabling the application and fee for comprehensive plan amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. F, ordinance updates. So this is mine. One of the things I wanted to do as president is do a review of all of our ordinances. And how I would like the cycle to work is one meeting we'll have the ordinance for review, and once everybody sees that it's 6.04.070 restrictions on keeping dogs, cats, fowl, and other animals, they will have a complete cycle, I would say. So you have the 2 weeks before the next meeting to review this ordinance, and if there's any pen and ink changes after review, you can bring it back, and then the next meeting we will make any changes, or we'll say, you know what, it's perfect the way it is, we don't need the staff to change anything. So that is the reason, and I just want to start this cycle with this particular meeting, with this ordinance. We have had some complaints about roosters in the village, so that's what kind of brought this up.
That was the one thing I was going to ask about.
Roosters in the village.
Want to
So
restrict
I did a lot of research on fowl, and per our ordinance, we do not have anything specific. We do for fowl in general, but not narrowed down to specifically roosters. And that is why we're diving into this animal ordinance. There are other communities, and when we meet again, I can do a little research, but there are other communities that have restrictions on roosters within village, town, or city limits. Because as many of you know, they don't just crow in the morning, they make noise all day long.
But it's annoying when they crow at 5:30 in the morning.
So, but there is, I believe there is, and I don't know if it's in this one or somewhere, but there is something about nuisance animals
Yes.
that could address, if someone had a rooster, you could call to the village, report it as a nuisance animal, and that could address handling that animal as well.
Right.
And that's exactly how I handled it, because that was the only ordinance that pertained to that. But we thought we'd bring it back to this to go
Because
into.
then we could be a little more specific about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we're supposed to take this as homework,
Yep.
and if we want to suggest any changes?
Yep.
Okay, if we want to suggest changes, should we let staff know so that they can start researching those changes and include them in?
Definitely. Yep, include staff on any kind of changes, and then the next board meeting will discuss how we can improve it, and then if there's any suggestions on particular ordinances that you'd like to see looked at, let me know, and we can put it on a future agenda item.
I think that's a good idea. It gives the public the chance to look at these and make a response if they want to come to the meeting too. Is this the complete ordinance for this one that you want us to go over?
That's attached here, yes.
Yes.
It says on number A4, there's a section, something else linked for something else about that, but we don't have that part, right? It says see section 604-130, but we don't have that.
But if you go to our village
Just go
website,
pull it from there.
it'll be
Okay.
linked,
Yeah.
or like
Okay.
hyperlinked
Sounds
to
good.
it.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
so-
guessing that is the
Nuisance.
noise.
And that's why I'm
nuisance.
wondering if we're gonna review that and then that part two, or just reference probably, so, okay.
Chris, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Waterloo just passed the chicken ordinance, and in there they prohibit roosters, and they base theirs off Juneau, city of Juneau, so I think.
So those are two cities that we could take a look at
Yeah, if
for
you
the
go to
language.
Waterloo's, I know, if you go back through their agenda, I can't remember when I did the article, April maybe, they have the
Okay.
packet in there, and I think they actually have, Juneau's ordinance in there too.
That's
Nice.
fantastic.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
But that ordinance was just for chicken, I mean, it wasn't all of the animals, I don't think, but.
No, absolutely.
We just might have to add a section specifically that calls out chickens.
And this is one of those, in board meetings in the past, sometimes we would get these kind of things and we're expected to kind of go through them on the fly. And I said, no, if we ever, if I'm ever in a situation where I can review these things, I want to give people enough time to actually look through them, rather than us up here trying to figure it out during the meeting. So that's what I want to do with ordinance updates, and any suggestions are welcome. So, moving on to 9, old business, discussion and possible action regarding a Springwater Alley update.
Okay, so with Springwater Alley, I did provide the minutes and information from the pre-construction meeting. Basically, I also got an update this morning when I went out to talk to the construction managers. They are starting on the side closest to Highway PQ. And that entrance, although it's open right now, I was told for sure tomorrow will be completely barricaded, because there will be a giant hole right in the middle of the road, so that will be impassable. And therefore, there's direction on our Facebook page and on our website for patrons to please use the Spring Street entrance. And then as progress and construction goes on, it'll flip-flop. And I did tell them to please come and reach out to me with any communication I should be sending out, any updates, and I will just continue to go out and just check with them and work with them to see if there's anything we need to do to make things go smoothly. The sidewalks are closed. I reached out to the school to let them know. I talked to Samantha from the library, because they have students coming from the schools all week, and I wanted them to know not to use the sidewalks. We want to try to create a path that they can get to the library as safely as possible, because during the day today they were ripping up the road and the curbing. But everything is on track, and so they started with the curbing and then started ripping up the roads.
Would, I think you're gonna love this. Would there be a consideration, if it gets too bad, to try and get to the library through the library front door, having people come through the Amundsen Center to the library?
I thought about that too.
Okay, let's just keep that in our back pockets if we need
Absolutely.
it. Maybe for
Absolutely.
one, if things are especially bad out there and we're worried about it being a safety item, you know, then they could come in through the Amundsen Center, take the elevator down, and then go in through this
Absolutely.
room. I mean, it's the slowest elevator on the face of the planet, but,
Yes.
you know, it would be safer potentially if that becomes too much of an issue.
Absolutely. And
All right.
my personal plan is literally every other day, not to bother them, but just check, see if there's any updates. And they, you know, I introduced myself and asked them to please come and let me know. And I explained to them I was going to do these posts and update our website, just so that it's easier for them and they're not trying to get people from coming in the wrong way, and pedestrians walking their dogs
Yes.
when the sidewalk should not be open.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
From the report, it sounds like they're on task to be done by the end of June.
That is correct.
Okay. This won't impact 4th of July if it comes up at the
Well,
meeting.
it's going to impact Firefest.
That's true.
It will impact Firefest, yeah. Which, so, did Lori come in today for Mill? Okay.
Yes, she did.
Did we talk about waiving the fee for that?
She
Or-
put, yep, she put in the request.
Okay.
Okay.
So because this street is closed and there were Firefest events that were going to take place on this street, the Arts Council is now looking to get the Mill Street, or the Mill Park, which is the green space to the west of the plow, that green space there. And could we waive the $25 park fee for that, because it is the village that is inconveniencing them and requiring them to do that?
Well, I think that's fair.
Is that what it costs to rent the West
rent
Side
a-
Park?
I believe it is for a nonprofit. Yeah,
What if an individual wants to do it for a party?
don't know.
Oh,
That's, we can look at those. we can look at those fees later.
So when, you said the request was turned in today?
It was just turned in today,
Okay.
and Vicki received that. I did not get to look at it. I was on the phone when she stopped in, but she did drop that off.
I don't see an issue with that.
The only thing I have is, so what happens if a private individual wants to rent the park or whatnot, or, you know, with, or,
During Firefest?
no, other, I mean, this project is gonna be going on for some time, so,
Just two weeks.
It's
or
just 2
months.
weeks?
2 months, it'll be
2
going on
months.
for 2 months.
okay,
And Firefest was long planned,
right,
and Firefest had
Mhm.
planned to use
mhm,
the back of the art hub.
Mhm.
That's where the concern is. We had a Firefest Reiku pottery was going to be demonstrated
Mhm.
over here at the art hub,
Okay.
in the back alley here, and
Mhm.
and that, I mean,
Okay.
you know, they put together flyers and stuff about it and
Yeah.
everything. And now all of that most likely is going to have to be changed because we don't know how safe it would be to go up there.
Okay.
So that's why we're going, that's why they thought it'd be safer to keep people on Water Street.
okay.
Well, let's go ahead and just, we can do this vote now.
Should I make a motion to waive the fee for the Mill Park for the art, for the Fairfest Arts Council?
Mill Park is just this little
That's
sliver.
Mill, I guess it's called Mill.
It's just this tiny little piece of
Because
land
that used to
we-
be the mill. The
Yeah.
plow, where the
Mhm.
plow is, it used to be a mill.
Okay, all right.
So that's why I think it's called Mill.
So
I call it the green.
The art hub would probably just move their static display
They,
there.
they'd look at maybe moving that there,
Mhm.
doing something. They haven't exactly decided what they're going to do. They just wanted to have that be available in case they decided that would be a safer option for things.
And, you know, usually the procedure is we would wait till the next meeting because you just got the request in today, but the next meeting, we're gonna be knee-deep in
Well-
the Firefest, pretty much, so let's
Yeah.
just vote on it today. Now, this is where usually you get the administrator saying, well, it's not on the agenda,
Yeah.
but
But it is part of, I think it's
Mhm.
appropriate because it's because of the road, and we're under the road update. And so it's part of the impact that,
Which we just
Road.
became aware of, was that last week?
yeah, last week.
So it's all a very fast timeline.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just talking about waiving the $25 fee?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about,
Yes.
Yeah.
for 20 minutes?
Excuse me, we can take however much time we need to talk about things.
Absolutely,
Okay, thank you.
yeah. I say waive the $25 fee and move on.
So we have a motion, do we have a motion and a second?
We have a motion, we need a second?
Oh, I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to waive the fee to the Arts Council for the use of the Mill Park. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. If you could let Mrs. Struss know that, appreciate it.
I will absolutely follow up with her tomorrow.
All right. Moving on to anything else for Springwater Alley update?
My only concern is, I think MSA really dropped the ball on this, and I think someone needs to tell them they dropped the ball on this.
Absolutely, I could do that.
Okay, because, I mean, you didn't know about the pre-construction
I did
meeting
not know that.
until the day of the pre-construction
I
meeting.
walked in and they were in here.
Right, and so, I mean, but nobody from Public Works knew about it either.
I do believe they might have been a little bit in the loop, and I do believe that Lisa might have via emails that then were forwarded, but I can't
Okay,
100%
So-
confirm that, but
Yeah.
yes. Not sure how things got sped up, and it was not communicated, and
Okay.
I would have liked to have come to the pre-construction meeting myself, just so that to help staff field all the calls.
Right, and then the other thing is when major things like this happen, giving announcements to the board, if it's between board meetings, would be really important, so that when people ask us what's
Yes.
happening, we have answers for them.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 9B, vacating Lucille Court.
Okay, so with Lucille Court, where we had left this is we went back to MSA. Jean was requesting I believe it was the description, the legal description for it. And so that is included here. And then Jane gave me some notes. She wasn't going to be here tonight, but she wanted me to tell you about the process, that if the board approves the resolution to vacate Lucille Court, this is not something we do very often. We will follow up with a public hearing involved in the near future, and a chance for neighboring landowners to object or state their thoughts and opinions. And that what the board members need to know for tonight is that this resolution just starts the process, and there are later opportunities of public input. And so do we have any questions regarding the documents that MSA provided?
This is the section where
I have no question, so I'll go ahead and make them.
we're just explaining one thing here real quick. Sarah's not quite sure where this parcel
I'm
is,
not,
so.
I'm not clear where this is exactly. I was looking at the.
Do you know where the bike safe crossing is by the Piggly Wiggly, the safe crossing? Do you know the path?
Yep.
And like where you have to go in order to get across to there,
Yep.
where that stoplight is?
Yep.
That cul-de-sac that you walk through, that's the area we're talking about. Because the hotel
Okay.
is
And
just
then
to the,
Okay.
yeah, the
Got it.
hotel is
Was
to the east.
not, I could not quite
And
picture
trying to
that
orient-
map.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a little
got it.
tricky to orient yourself.
Thank you.
Google calls it Lucille Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Lucille Circle.
Okay.
Drive.
One of the three.
Well, it's on the picture as circle, and it's on the document as
It's on the
Court.
resolution as court.
Yeah, I know.
It's on the resolution as drive.
All right, do we have to name it before we can decide what we're doing with it?
If you look up at the highlighted resolution number 25, it says, "A resolution initiating the right-of-way discontinuance process under Wisconsin statute, blah, blah, blah,
Portion
for a
of
portion of Lucille Drive."
That just
Okay.
means the village will not maintain it in any way, plow it, or,
No?
okay.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
This is related to what we discussed in closed session, so,
Mhm.
so it's related to what we discussed in closed session.
How long ago?
Last,
Was it the last meeting?
Mhm.
I think it was last
Okay.
meeting.
At the last meeting.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll have to go back, okay, so,
The big important part, though, on this, Paul, excuse me once, is that there is going to be a public hearing
yes,
on this.
Right,
So this starts the process.
And we can update the resolution.
with the proper name. I remember this being named Lucille Court. Actually, if you ask Steve Struss, he can probably tell you when that happened, because it's named after his mother.
Okay.
So if we need to go back into old minutes
Yes.
to find out what the proper name of the road is that the board named it, the village named it, then we can go back in previous minutes to find that out.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And then I will make sure that MSA
Kristen, you can
and that
take out
Jane,
the
at
sticker
all the
over to
documents
change
reflect the proper name
reflect
They did
the
yours.
proper
your street.
name.
going forward?
Yes.
Perfect.
Sarcastic. All right.
So are
We
we,
have a motion. Do we have a
okay.
second?
yeah,
I'll second.
All right. And with just the amendment that we make the changes to the actual resolution.
Yes.
Any other questions or concerns? All right. All those in favor of the approval of
Resolution 25.
resolution number 25? Doesn't state on the resolution.
We will give it a number once it's been approved.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor of approval of the resolution initiating the right-of-way discontinuance of Lucille Circle Drive Court, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, moving on to 9C, Fire and EMS Commission update. Kristen, all yours.
So we had a very long meeting last Wednesday. Very,
Longer than a village board meeting?
I think I left there at 11.
Holy
So,
buckets, yeah.
It
Okay,
was,
you
it
win.
was quite long. We had a very robust agenda, thanks to yours truly. But a very good meeting, I would say. I feel like we accomplished more in that meeting than we have in probably the last 3 or 4.
Oh, my God.
We have new positions. I was elected president, which was a little surprising. Tracy Brandel from Lake Mills is the treasurer. Alicia Hines from Rockdale will stay on as our secretary, and then Steve Creedman from Christiana is our other board member or commission member. We had a 20-item agenda. A lot of the items that were brought forth were ones that I had put in that kind of business plan roadmap to talk through. The majority of them we brought up just as talking points. We didn't really take action on the majority of them. We are going to be drafting a new EMS director job description and get that set up for posting. We are going to be starting the process of looking at the IGA and to tighten language, clarify roles, responsibilities for commissioners, what commissioners can and can't do, kind of do our best to eliminate that I report to the president, I report to the, that unilateral decision making. Couple of just highlights. One, not so good news. So far in 2025, the commission has paid $97,000 in unpaid 2023 and 2024 bills. So the last report from the previous treasurer was we think we have them all under control now, to be determined. One of the things that we would like to do is have each municipality post agenda packets and minutes to our respective websites so that our constituents can find things a lot easier and that it's accessible. The goal will be to get packets, like actual packets almost similar to our village ones, where we're going to have the hope is bill runs, budget to actuals, any talking items that we want to have in the packet so that community members can see it as well as
Nice.
Other board members. Hopefully to have that put up about 5 days before the meeting. And then minutes will go, once they're approved, will go up as well. So that was one of the things. I will get, both the fire chief and the interim EMS director gave good reports. I will give Mr. Williams a lot of credit. He gave us more information in this meeting than we got from our previous director, and I would say the last year.
Wow.
So he did a good job with that. Chris, you were there too, if there's anything.
Well, most of the time, I mean, that took you till 11 o'clock was closed session, so I was there. But for the meetings, they had the elections right off the bat. So I'm trying to think of if there was any. There was some motions made, though. There was a couple motions made. There was some actionable items that were done,
Yeah,
but I can't recall. Sitting in the audience at the time.
yeah, I know, and it was like a blur. So, one of the things we did do is we're gonna start drafting, I think this was one of them, we made a decision to start, reviewing duties and SOPs for the administrative clerk that they're talking about hiring. There was, what else? I have- Sorry.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
about, and if you haven't, would you consider evaluating when and how often you need to have an attorney at your meetings? Because I
Yes.
think it's ridiculous to have an attorney at every meeting.
We did actually talk about that. Even Mr. Hahn agreed that it, going forward, obviously we've got a few bumps, down the road to get through. But the hope is to getting through the next few meetings, then he would be more of an ad hoc.
But does he have to be at the meetings? Can't you discuss what you need from him?
If a lot of what he's there for is the ongoing DWD concerns,
got it. Okay.
things along those lines, so he's got to give us all those updates and things like that.
Could you make those things first in the agenda, so then you wouldn't have to pay him to sit there all night?
Yeah, we can absolutely take that back. Yeah.
What is DWD?
Department of Workforce Development.
It's like, get all the, like what we try to do when MSA is here.
Yes,
Let's do
get
the
everything
MSA stuff
done.
first,
I like that
get 'em out
idea.
the door.
Yep, I like that idea.
Okay.
Two of the things that we have on the agenda tonight, one is the second quarter payment. We are approaching our 60 days. I was a little surprised it did not even get brought up that we had not paid ours. I think Christiana had just got their check too. So, so we have that on our agenda, and then the sale of ambulance 92.
So that didn't come up, that we haven't, okay.
Shockingly, no. But, so that's kind of the gist of it.
But then again, everybody was new except for
Alicia.
Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
So who would have brought it up?
And we had the old guard was still there.
Oh, there.
And I asked,
You guys took it through the
Yeah, we
treasurer's report,
took
so.
it through the treasurer's report, and
Yeah.
we didn't have a list of bills or anything.
Well, never mind.
One last irritant before I stepped down, so.
But that's gonna change going forward.
Yeah.
Tracy
Good.
Brandel is gonna work with the CPA right now to be able to get us a complete budget to actual each month,
She has a
and
financial background.
she has a huge financial background. She works for the USDA. To get that, to get the bill runs, all that kind of stuff, so we can get an understanding of our finances.
I love the idea of the packet that you're going to do in 5 days out. Just remember that you can adjust the agenda as long as you do a 24-hour posting notice.
Yep.
And so there are going to be times when you're going to need to do that because something comes up in that interim 5
Yep.
days. So
Yeah.
make sure you keep that in your back pocket.
Yep.
Okay. And I love that you guys are asking all the municipalities to post where we post our regular stuff. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yes. That was one of the things that has been brought forth a few times, is folks can't find.
Well, for the longest time, they were on Rockdale's website, and you can go to Rockdale and find them, and then all of a sudden, in bulk, they were gone.
They were gone.
So-
I think Annie said there was a
There's
glitch
Yeah.
of some sort.
Kristen, just to add on that, so from my knowledge, we always post the agendas for the fire and EMS
Yes.
commission meetings. We post the agenda on the website and all the places that we do for our village board meetings.
Yep.
I don't recall if minutes or a packet is ever, I don't believe are ever sent to us.
Nope.
But absolutely, I'll make sure to get those as long as
Perfect.
they come our way.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. That way folks can, we're gonna work heavily on transparency and communication,
Great.
so,
Congratulations on your new position.
Congrats.
thank you.
So where do we sit with the second quarter invoice? We're coming up on where interest is gonna start getting.
Yes.
Yep, we're coming up on our 60 days.
And what do we owe?
$147,888.
And that's from the first quarter, correct?
Nope, that's second
Second
quarter
quarter.
dues. Not
Okay.
addressing first quarter.
Nope.
Because we haven't
First
gotten
quarter
anything
is
that-
passed.
Haven't gotten anything that says
Nope.
we're in arrears on anything for first quarter, so.
So even second quarter is coming up on 60 days then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because we got it April
June.
1st.
Oh, okay, that makes
First.
sense. Okay,
right?
got it.
June 1st, I
June
think
1st,
is.
yep.
Anything that goes past the 60 days, we would get 18% interest charged. So I don't think.
So why have we not paid first quarter?
Couple of reasons. First, we have 60 days to pay it from the time of its assessment. So a lot of times it comes before board meetings in between those 60, or sometime during those 60 days. There's also been a lot of discussion on the finances and getting more information on that before, because we obviously now pay the bulk of the share. So.
I'm sorry, Sarah, did you ask why haven't we paid second quarter yet?
I
Or
thought you
first
said
quarter?
first quarter we did not pay.
There's a portion of the first quarter that, according to the document we received second quarter, it says we owe, or what the amount was.
The assessment changed between
Right, the
the
assessment
first
changed.
time it was sent to us and the
And
second time.
so we paid what we were actually billed,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
which does not reflect the same amount that shows on the document that's in our packet.
Okay. Got it.
And we've never been asked to
And we've never been asked to, so.
anything additional, so.
Okay.
So I will make a motion to pay the second quarter invoice.
I will second.
So just to be clear, this puts us over budget for the year,
In the second quarter.
in the second quarter. I mean, we knew we were going to be over budget. We didn't know we were going to be over budget. Personally, I thought we might be able to make it into third quarter before going over budget, but we are like $40,000, $47,000 over budget if we pay this full bill.
But I guess the silver lining is now that you're gonna take a look at, you've been getting some reports from Mr. Williams that they've cut back a lot on their expenses. There should be a review of the budget,
Yes.
a review, and that kind of goes along with number 2 on this list here, but a review of what the, I guess he's not using as many medical or
Medical director saved us, the Mercy Health does not charge us as a medical director, so that saved $12,000. The hope is that we are, according to Mr. Williams, we are now fully staffed again, so that we should be seeing a decrease in overtime.
there could be some staffing changes.
Yes, there could be
to
some
the
staffing
commission.
changes as well too that could affect.
But realistically, when would those financial
For third
things
quarter.
really come into play? Because it sounds like they're still trying to pay back bills from before that we don't even know about.
That's
right?
been the most difficult part is there was a lot of discretionary spending that nobody knew about, or that perhaps was approved or unapproved. It's still kind of coming to light.
Well, there was
Can we sue the person who paid, who?
No.
Why not?
Because it is stated that there was $1,000 a day discretionary spending for
A day?
for the director.
A day? That's $365,000.
Correct.
Where was that stated? Where was that written? Because an oral agreement like that is crap.
I believe that was in his contract. Which will not be in the new director's contract.
Why are we having a contract at all? We're just going to hire somebody. Let's not, why would you contract? We don't need to have a contract for a director. We just need to post a position and hire to the position. We
These are all
don't have
things,
to have an employment contract.
these are all things we're talking about going forward with this, because we're looking at other changes as far as with the position as well too. So whether it's gonna be contract, whether it's gonna be at will, whether it's gonna be, there's a lot of discussions going forward. So before any job posting, anything along those lines, my intention is to have it brought back to the municipalities to look at, and then go
Yeah,
forward.
they are, the new commission, as new as they are under the pressure of a lot of the unknowns. Like, it was just sprung upon them during the last commission meeting that we haven't been paying what the collective bargaining agreement was.
Oh, God, yeah.
So now that is another aspect where they're having to do back pay. Because someone decided that they didn't feel comfortable paying what the collective bargaining agreement was because they hadn't received it. So now we have to pay back pay for that. So unfortunately, that's another issue that the new commission's going to have to deal with.
Okay, so let's come back to like this bill.
Yeah.
And payment.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, I mean, if we pay this,
Mhm.
we're probably $50,000 over budget.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say 50,000.
Yep.
If we have to pay the next two, then we're another $300,000 over budget. So that's $350,000 that we're gonna have to go out for a loan for,
Mhm.
because we do not have that money.
Right.
So do we go out for that loan now? I don't want us to come up end of the year and when we have to go, because it makes a difference when you take loans,
Yes.
so that how it affects then our mill rate and our, you know,
The levy limit.
yes, the levy limit, how it affects the levy limit. So I want to make sure that we're ahead of the game so that we can take out that loan so that it can reflect appropriately when we're doing our levy limit calculations.
Absolutely.
So, and I don't know what that is or what that is, and I don't know if you need to talk to Ehlers about some of that stuff, but I think you need to have those conversations sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Okay,
You
And
have
I
a question?
actually do have a meeting with Brian this week,
excellent,
so
excellent.
I can bring that up.
What happens other than accruing interest if we don't pay this?
It's 18%
18%.
interest.
I
Interest.
understand, but I'm just saying, what happens if we don't pay it? I mean,
Payroll doesn't
Eventually,
get
the
paid.
commission will be in trouble.
Bills don't get
right?
paid.
Hmm.
Vendors don't get paid, things like that. And we've had that up until this point. So, I'm,
pay with money you don't have. I mean, that's kind of the gist of it.
kind of, so, yeah, there's,
We're getting a service.
We might
I
not
don't
be
see-
happy with that service. but
I
we're
don't see
getting
how we can't. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of progress made with the new EMS commission. So
Yeah.
I'm hopeful we're going to right-size it.
I'm very
It-
hopeful.
This is going to be an incredibly ugly year for the village of Cambridge.
Yes, it is.
from a financial standpoint,
financial,
definitely.
yeah, for this.
And this is the crux of it.
But
Right.
our other option is we don't provide EMS service at all,
Right.
Which is an option.
which is always an option.
I would argue it's been an ugly past several years with going through all of the excess money. So this isn't just this year, this is
I'm just
the
talking about
past several
this.
years.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this year.
I understand, but it's repeated. So how do we rectify this if we've gone over budget all of
We
this
haven't
time?
gone over budget on fire and EMS in previous years,
No.
From the village standpoint.
from a village standpoint.
Commission has.
Right.
But it's never been assessed to the village. So our payments up
But what I was
until-
saying, Kristen, is
Mhm.
from now until third quarter, isn't there an opportunity to reassess what the budget is for 2025 and issue an amendment to that budget?
That's my hope.
Or is that pie
we-
in the sky hope?
No, it's my hope to take a deep dive at the budget again. And no, what we need first is actual information.
Yep.
But now that Tracy's going to be working with the CPA, we should get, and they gave us, I guess it's an actual spending. It didn't have any comparisons to, oops, I guess I don't have that. It didn't have any comparisons to what the budgeted was, so we couldn't really make any, and we didn't get it until that night. So it was a little tricky to try and digest 6 pages of financials in 10 minutes. So yes, the hope is that we will be reevaluating that budget and seeing from there what we can do.
Chris, I appreciate you raising your hand. You had a question?
Well, at the one meeting, didn't they come out and Dave say that you had 2 budget figures and he went with the higher one, hoping that you would be able to, that was the worst case scenario, in other words, the one you're under now?
Right.
Yes.
Calling it.
That was, yeah, I believe we went with if we went with Deer Grove or something like that. We went with the higher budget. And there was also something about the run revenue.
So yeah, so there were 2 budget proposals. One was a higher amount should we choose to change service or something along those lines. So that way, either whether we stayed with Cambridge EMS or we went with Deer Grove, it would be covered under there, and nothing else would go back. One of the things that I brought up, thanks for the reminder, was they had taken out the run revenue from this budget, which I questioned whether we can actually do that. The explanation, if I remember correctly, was they were going to use that. If there was excess, it would go into the reserve funds. Problem that I had is the reserve funds are not even listed on the budget. So I don't know how we can put money into reserve funds that don't actually exist.
And what's the point of building up reserves if we can't pay our bills now? We need to pay our bills.
Right.
So,
Some of the reserves is, we know there's going to be building maintenance, we know there's going to be apparatus that's going to be needed, So the thought process from the commission's perspective was, trying to slowly build those back up from being drained.
that's what we have fundraisers for.
No.
So realistically, we'll get our third quarter, we'll get billed at July 1st or so, and then 60 days from that, if we decided to wait, that realistically is when we'd have to make our next payment, correct? To your point about whether we should,
September 1st. So, now I'm going to do my realistically. Realistically, do you see the 147 being less than 6 digits?
No,
Okay.
not unless,
A miracle happened?
yes. Payroll is still our biggest expense, as is with any business, but there currently is not any foreseen other major expenses coming down the pipe. Knock on wood.
Other than Oakland.
Well, the audit, yeah, there's that.
But we have 5 years.
Well, first payment starts
Yeah.
January though. So, but that's still in process. That's a whole another thing. Do I see a dramatic reduction? No.
So if we're looking at taking a loan, we need to take a look at taking a $350,000 loan
To cover us,
to cover
to
fire
be
and
safe,
EMS services.
probably, yes, unfortunately.
Okay.
and then realistically, obviously, hopeful for a budget in the fall, but it's still gonna be realistically in that,
Potentially,
so we're gonna have to plan for budgeting on that, okay?
I mean, this is not sustainable for Cambridge.
No, and every single person sitting on the commission on last Wednesday night agreed that this is not sustainable in the way that it is. So we will be needing to make some hard decisions going forward. on
And if
what
it
we're
means
gonna
we
be
have to
doing.
cut services, we cut services.
Mhm.
Yeah, originally we had thrown out the idea of having a referendum in the fall, but then we found out there wasn't any,
There's no election.
no
No
election.
election.
So,
No major
and that we,
election.
without an election, we can't,
Mhm.
per Dane County, we can't do it, a referendum.
So we'll have to have a referendum in the spring,
In the spring, when there is an election.
when there is an election.
The referendum would come down to, you know, a set amount of money probably in perpetuity, I would imagine. And then if it doesn't pass, the alternate is no EMS service. It's a hard
Because-
line.
Because we can
but
afford
that
the
kinda
fire
answers your
services.
question of what if we just didn't pay? Well, we're getting a service right now that we've already committed to.
I just don't know how we can keep
And we can't.
pushing,
We
we
can't.
can't, but
We can't.
but we are, but by paying it, we are.
But we don't, we,
You
we
know?
are essentially under contract, if you want to say, for this year, because we are still in the IGA and we are still in the commission.
And if the commission sued us, we would have to pay with 18% interest.
Yeah, we would lose
There's,
that one.
there's just no way around that.
It's, that part unfortunately is stated very, very clearly in the
In the
IGA.
IGA.
That's one of the few
Yeah.
Yeah.
things
no
that are
room for
stated very, no,
interpretation
not on that one,
so.
not on that one.
And this contract is only through this calendar year.
No.
When does it go through?
2028,
Mm.
August of 2028,
When was that decided?
It's a 10-year
it's a
contract.
10-year contract,
2018.
so.
2018.
Things were a
before,
little
we
bit
still
different in
had private-
2018.
We still had
We still had
volunteers.
We still
volunteers
had
and-
volunteer EMS
When we were paying
when it was,
67K a year.
Mhm.
and then it went off the rails when
Yeah, we went from volunteer force to all,
paid and
and then
then
unionized.
and then we had, and then the EMS commission was taken over by,
Hostile takeover
correct,
is what I call it.
I agree.
So,
I just want to make a point of clarification. So if we pay the second quarter amount of $147,888 and add that to what we have paid for first quarter, which was $119,424.04, we will be over our $200,000 that we budgeted for by $67,312.04. I just wanted, because I think we were saying 35,000, wanted to give that exact amount.
Say that again, 60.
I was thinking it was 109. I didn't get 119. In my head, I had 109.
No
Yeah.
worries, so $67,312.04.
And some of that, we also have to remember, though, that we removed money from our public safety budget going into this year.
Because we knew we knew we were going to blow the budget anyway.
Yeah.
And there was,
So, there's that.
So around 360,000 over budget, not counting any savings the commission can try to work through into
Yeah.
stuff.
We're hoping to see, one of the meetings that I had with Mr. Williams, he said that he's been, like his, consumables, stuff like that, he envisioned some significant changes, given that the previous two individuals who were in charge dramatically overspent and overbought on a lot of things.
can we like put in austerity measures, like get rid of cable at the firehouse, rid of
They have to have internet.
internet? Fine.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
I
have
don't
to
know
have.
I don't know if they have.
If they have
I-
any streaming services,
I
get
don't
rid of all of
know.
them.
Yeah.
If they have any, I
Mhm.
mean,
We have that at the crew house.
that's what you're talking about, right? The
yeah,
crew
that's
house?
what I'm talking about. We got to get rid of all of that stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, I pull in stuff from the antenna.
No, I don't disagree. I think we had, and that's hopefully getting a better understanding of what actual bills that are being paid every month. I have bank statements that I've been going through from 2025, 4, and 3 and 2, 2022. A lot of things make you go, unfortunately, it's money already spent.
Yep.
So we have to just try and look at it going forward. So,
Picturing Dean up there with aluminum foil up on your roof, tweaking things.
so
What we do.
hopefully,
We do.
with our next meeting, we'll have a better budget to actual.
Yeah, just as
actual
you're
budget
going
to
into
actual.
the next budget cycle. So.
Yeah, because we're gonna be starting that already soon, so.
But, all right, so we have a motion and a second for the second quarter invoice. Any other, did we answer your question, Sarah?
One more that comes to mind, are these numbers higher than budgeted for because of Oakland pulling out?
Yes.
Yes.
very
Is that
much
the
so.
main reason?
That is the-
That is the huge,
There
That is the
We are now
largest
the largest.
crux of the problem.
and, you know, that's, we now pay the lion's share of it, and
48%, I think it is.
49%, something like that, so.
Are there any other reasons that,
Just-
besides that?
I would go ahead and I can say this with confidence, having been on the commission, it was a lot of financial incompetence. And it pains me to say that because I was sitting on that commission, but it was a snowball effect. Snowball, and no oversight.
That's
Absolutely
the
no
hugest
oversight.
problem, is the
And we
oversight.
asked, and we asked, and we asked,
We-
and we pushed, and we tried to do everything that we could within the IGA. We worked with our legal counsel, we sent letters, we started the mediation process. We tried to do everything we could
Per the IGA.
per the IGA and got nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So this is one of those where we're getting the service, this is the bill, it's not fun, we have to pay the bill, so I'm just trying to think where the next, because we're gonna have to have this discussion in a couple of months, and then we're gonna have to do some things about that, so.
I don't know how much we're gonna be able to undo for 2025. My hope is going forward for 2026. But if it's the 4 communities, it's not
sustainable.
gonna,
It's not sustainable.
it's not sustainable,
We can't do
but
it.
it's not gonna change. If it's the 4, I mean.
Then
if
we
it's the
got to
4
pull out.
And we will be, and that's a good point, Paul, because we'll be in that, we'll have to be in that time frame to be able to have to give notice when we look at the financial picture. But we will still be in it for 2026, even if we give notice in, January, or December 31st.
And as we start talking about, I don't know if this is appropriate time to bring this up, but as we start talking about going forward in budgets and we start talking about IGA changes and things along those lines, one of the major IGA changes that I would like to push is a unanimous budget, not a majority budget.
Yes, 100%.
We shouldn't be deciding what Rockdale's budget is for their municipality. No one should be,
Correct. I agree.
deciding ours. So that's one of the
That's
big changes that I want to
absolutely.
make.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why it's never been a unanimous vote,
I agree.
because,
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
So if nothing changes and it's just the 4 communities, and we give them the notice to pull out, are we still responsible because we have this 10-year agreement?
no, we would, so the way the withdrawal process goes, we just, in December of 2024, we just rescinded our, sorry, 2024, we rescinded our.
In 2023, December 2023, we issued our 1-year notice that we would be leaving. You have to give a 1-year notice.
Got it.
That's why.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is the right place to ask about it too, but the chase vehicle do we, the ambulance chase vehicle, do we have to have that?
I,
'Cause I see it sitting at a house
Yeah.
on Madison Street
Mhm.
all the time.
Mhm.
And it
Uh,
shouldn't be somebody's personal vehicle.
my hope is to do a complete review of assets. That's all part of some of it is part of the Oakland audit and stuff like that. We just got an updated asset list and things along those lines. And my hope is to take a look at all of the apparatus that's there, and if there's Rescue 92 is coming up on the agenda anyways, but if there's places to offload.
And then if the ambulances are limited in with like the amount of miles you like to rack up on them, our people aren't just getting in the vehicle and driving, right?
Not that I've seen. I'm not in the community 24/7, so I can't answer that.
I suppose if they have to go to the Piggly Wiggly to
They
pick
need to
something
get
up,
gas,
they drive it there
Yep, they need
and
to
gas
get.
it up.
Mhm.
But otherwise, they should be going straight back to the,
Mhm.
right?
Otherwise, it should be.
Did you have
There's
a
no reason they
question?
should be,
Can I speak to that,
Yeah.
Paula?
Yes.
Because we got a lot of new crew members on the EMS staff now, and one of the ways they learn the community and where they need to go in an emergency is by driving the
Drive
community.
it.
So the ambulance is driven some for that,
For training.
driven to hospitals for training purposes, that
Mhm.
sort of thing.
okay. All right, thank you for that clarification.
I think the joyriding is kept to a minimum.
Mhm. All right. Anything else for second quarter invoice? All right, I think since it's money, we're gonna have to do
Yep.
roll call here.
Bruning,
Yes?
Jacobson,
Yes.
Recklow,
Yes.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Trendle,
Yes.
Blackwood,
Yes.
and Schultz.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes.
Sarah? I like the sigh. We all know exactly how you feel. We
Yeah.
are we have all been there, so we get it, we get it,
Yeah.
we get it.
Yeah. And you also have the right to say no.
You can
I
say no,
debated.
or,
I debated.
Yeah,
Or-
but we
or
get the sigh
abstain
and
or-
the, oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's,
Yep.
it's, my hope is going forward, things are gonna be different.
Well, I'm, again, your report, I would have voted no had your report of the meeting not have been as positive as it was. Because
Yeah.
I did not want to throw more money after. It was just going to go down the same hole.
No.
So I thought that was good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on to C2, sale of ambulance number 92.
So there's been discussion, so right now, the commission has 3 ambulances, 92, 94, 96. 92 is the oldest, it is a 2015, I believe. It has, since the Lake Mills EMS contract has expired, the ambulance has been sitting in a storage shed. I believe since December, is that the?
That's what we heard.
And the thought process is to sell it while it still has a shelf life that can be utilized for other communities. Pretty much everything is stripped out of it. There's still some communication equipment that'll still come out. But otherwise, the only other thing that remains in it is the cot system. So the discussion that came out of the commission vote was to approve the sale of the ambulance through sealed bid. So we'll get bids for that to hopefully get the highest price that.
Can you do that while we're,
It will go into any funds or from that will go into a reserve fund, and it will be held, the money won't be accessible. It'll be for the audit.
but the reason you're wanting to sell it now is if we wait until the audit is figured out, the
Depreciation.
usefulness of that vehicle
Correct.
is going to decrease even more.
Yes.
Got it.
And are
Okay.
we paying for the storage of this vehicle as well?
No.
Okay.
Well, thank God for that.
It's in Dave Schrader's shed right now.
No, oh, was that just an informational, or do you need something from the villages?
So we need to, so the commission has to vote to sell it, and then each municipality has to vote. So we need tonight to hopefully make a motion and for the sale, for the commission to go ahead and sell it.
One municipality has already voted.
Lake Mills already voted on it.
Right.
Yep.
And did they vote to
Yes.
sell?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay.
I think where it became a little nuanced is you recommended the sealed bid because there'd been some
Yeah.
conversation about, well, we can just sell it to Joe or whatever.
Yeah, there was a couple of the previous president, fire services in Lake Mills, I guess, sometimes acts as a broker for these sales or has connections for sales. The thought process was and they did express interest in buying it. Likelihood is they will lowball us so they can make a profit on it, somewhere else. So, and there's only certain avenues because it's technically a municipal vehicle, that there's only certain avenues that you can sell it. Usually it's by auction or by sealed bid. So instead of paying an auctioneer
And a brokerage fee.
and a brokerage fee, we decided on the sealed bid to hopefully.
So you need the village to make a motion to approve the sale
Yep.
for the EMS?
Yep.
I will make a motion to approve the sale of ambulance number 92 by Fire and EMS Commission.
And I will second. All right, any other discussion on the sale of ambulance 92? Paul, you brought up a good point that, while we're in the middle of an audit process with Oakland, what their take is going to be on this. Are we going to get any blowback from Oakland? But the fact that we're going to have a separate account.
Yep.
And that was discussed at the Fire and EMS Commission meeting,
Yep.
that there is going to be that secondary account that's
Yep.
used just for any kind of sale.
And no one is going to have access to that?
Nope.
account?
No, that's clear as well. That's
Well,
one of
that
the other
would be
two
For-
pieces
for
of
all I'm-
information in the IGA that are clear.
For all I'm concerned, if we sold the Chase vehicle, that go into that same fund.
Yeah.
Yep.
And,
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and we have a second on the sale of ambulance 92. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion approved. Moving on to 10, correspondence. 10A, recycling grant. Lucy, you wanna share the
Yes.
good news?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Village of Cambridge, and we did receive the check. It, I believe, came in today or on Friday. But we were awarded $3,955.58 for the recycling grant. And just for those of you who are new to this, I actually did the DNR grant for my first time ever. Surprise, yes. And filled in all the information. We got time and totals on our composting, our brush pickup. Also, then I reached out to GFL, that's our trash and recycling company, worked with them to get tire numbers, and they keep track of all that. So they were a great resource. And the check will be deposited tomorrow.
Great.
That's good.
So that's that.
And then moving
for
on
doing
to,
all
go ahead.
I just thanked her for doing all
Yeah.
of that. Lots of time.
10B is correspondence regarding ice rink. I think that's in our packet here.
Yes, I just wanted to share, it's the second half of the email that I wanted to share with the board. I thought it was important. We provide services, some that our constituents, don't want, and some that they really do. And this particular person was reaching out regarding the West Side Park, the mulch that our Public Works guys did last week, and just said that they really enjoyed the ice rink this past winter, and they used it a lot. And I actually spoke to her on the phone, and she reiterated that. And I wanted to take a chance to share that with you because it's good to hear what we are doing well and to continue to make sure that we try to make an effort to continue to do that for the community.
All right, number 11 is our second go at public comment. Any public comment out there? Okay,
It's a small public.
yeah.
It's all right, though.
All right. I think we're moving a little too slow for Jackie, so she might have moved out. So number 12, questions and referrals to staff on future agenda items. I see here state health insurance plan, June 10th, 2025. I believe that's going to be reviewed in personnel.
Yep, on
Yeah,
Thursday.
We're meeting on Thursday.
And then B, snowplow update.
Yep, and
And-
that,
oh, go ahead.
oh, that we're just waiting for Jane to do a little background. She's looking into a few things on that.
Okay. Any other questions or referrals to staff or future agenda items?
Can we put a discussion on the Vineyards Playground on a
Yes.
That's
future
Public
agenda?
Works. That'll come up in a Public Works meeting.
Mm.
They're working on, as far as I know,
Yes, the
Yeah,
last
we're working on
discussion
that.
it was with Lee we were getting quotes from Lee Recreation. There was gonna be,
I thought they were putting together like two different plans that we were
Yes.
then gonna present and decide what gonna, so can we, can Lisa get those plans to me
Absolutely.
or find out where we're at with that?
Yeah.
And then I can do a Public Works
Meeting and add that to
meeting.
the
That'll be
agenda.
another agenda item.
Yeah.
For Public
And then
Works.
bring it here. Absolutely, we can do that.
Great.
I wanted to add portable bathrooms.
Yeah, that'll be a future agenda item. I got
okay,
an email that will be on the next agenda.
Yep.
okay.
And then we had that item that we had from the planning that we pushed to review at the planning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
So the MSA
AE.
thing going to
Yeah.
the Plan Commission?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can add that as well.
because we'll need to call a plan commission meeting, so we
Mhm.
should get that organized.
The next
Help
one.
with that.
I have a question for everyone, but particularly audit and finance. How should we move forward, kind of based off of your question, Paula, earlier about how the Fire and EMS Commission deals with their legal counsel? From a board standpoint, for the most part, we just allowed Lisa to call Jane and say, hey, can you come to this meeting? That didn't really give us the autonomy, from a financial standpoint, we're sort of at the mercy of whatever the administrator saw fit for the legal counsel to be here. I think that should be a decision that we make as a board.
We
What's
can't
your
make it-
argument?
We can't make it as a full board, Chris, because we don't set the agenda. Staff is going to know best when we need to have legal counsel at the meeting in order to help us navigate the items that are on the agenda.
I
we as
disagree
a
with that
board-
because I set the agenda.
Okay, then you do it, but it can't be the board as a whole.
Right.
It can't be because that would be quorum issues if you did a board before the board meeting. So if you, in conjunction with the administrator,
Well, just know from my standpoint, having Jane here, it's not anything against Jane, but from my standpoint, where I stand is Jane being here is going to be the exception, not the rule.
yeah, but it has been lately,
All right, I'm just,
yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's arguing that.
all right.
And if staff or any board member feel like it's important to have that added, to have her there for a future meeting
Mhm.
for a specific reason, I guess, to reach out to you, Chris and I,
When we
and
do the agenda.
and Lisa, go over all of the agendas before they're posted.
Yeah, I just didn't want there to be any confusion within the board. If somebody sees something that's so important that we need to have Jane here, please, there has to be a flow of how that works, so.
That makes sense.
Agree?
Try and limit it,
Don't
try
we?
and keep it.
Oh, and I think we have been limiting it more so,
Mhm.
particularly since the beginning of this year.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I think that's been really good.
Yeah.
I can't see one instance this year when we had Jane here when we didn't absolutely needs
Yeah,
to
it's
be
usually
addressed.
development issues
Yeah,
or,
so I think she's been doing a really, and I think Jane's much more in tune to that as well, because she knows of our budget issues.
Yeah.
So she's been more in tune to that too.
okay.
So, so I would leave that to you and the administrator who are setting the agenda to determine.
Okay,
I would feel comfortable in you making that decision, Chris.
all right.
And does that go back to your point where we try, if we need to have Jane here for some of those issues, whether it's contracts or whatever, do we put that at the beginning of the meeting so then she can,
Instead of at the end.
instead of at the end?
Unless she's needed for any closed session.
It's usually a close that she's
Yeah,
here
but-
for.
Right,
Close
but
can
could
be
we move
moved
the
up to
closed
the
session
beginning.
to the
Yeah.
beginning?
Yep,
Get-
we start with a closed session instead of end with a closed session.
You know,
Unfortunately, that'll make Melissa stay here a lot longer, but.
sorry, Melissa.
What do you
We'll
think,
work
Sharon?
to speed through the end of it.
All right.
I'm lost. I'm listening.
Okay. All right, with that being said, that was my question. Anybody else have any other questions or referrals to staff? Public Works wanted to have a,
Yeah, I'd like to have a public works meeting at some point in June. So we'll have to, that'll be a TBD for a date.
so moving on to 13, upcoming meetings, May 29th, personnel, June 10th, licensing, June 10th, Board of Review, June 10th, Village Board meeting, June 11th, Fire and EMS Commission meeting,
I love the dollar sign, sorry about that.
June 17th, Water and Sewer, June 24th, Village Board again, and then Economic Development on the 24th.
And then we'll need to get a planning meeting,
Plan Commission
planning
probably in
commission
June.
scheduled in June.
And then Kristen, is there a date for the next?
June 11th.
June 11th,
6:30.
I will add that as well.
Thank you.
Paula, we have a planned vacation for the water and sewer meeting, so I won't be able to do that.
All right. He did that to me too when he was on.
It's a pattern in water.
He went to Florida.
That's where we're going. That's where we're going.
Wow.
Apparently that's the water and sewer vacation.
That's all right. I think we should, I think we should still have a quorum without you there, but we'll look forward to you coming to the next one.
So, yes, I will be there.
Excellent.
All right, I'll take number 14.
I'll make a motion to convene into closed session per 19.851 Charlie of the Wisconsin statutes to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of village employees, public works position, and personnel matters.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Bruning,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Hollenbeck,
Yes.
Trendle,
Yes.
Blackwood,
Yes.
and Kirklow.
Yes.
All right, we will take